more on this one.
Okay, so now Schindler, we have to know a lot about Schindler. When you saw him, when you spoke to him, what he said to you, how the other prisoners felt about Schindler. Did you pray? Now, remember in the movie at the end, they showed. My name is Linda Gonzenhauser. Today's date is May 26, 1990. Anna, can you tell me about your childhood?
My name is Anna Perl, and I was born Anna Duklauer. I was born in Szczawnica, Poland. It was a very nice little town, and was there 7 mineral waters, and people from all over came, and they was mineral water, and they said that the water was healthy. So with tuberculosis, asthma, people came there, mostly during the summer. Was very busy. Was a very nice place, but my father thought it's not big enough and he can make better living in a bigger city. So we moved to Zakopane.
What did your father do for a living?
He was a tailor, but in Zakopane he built a little business. It was souvenir business on leather. They paint with colors the leather, and they make albums, wallets, and cover on books, and this was his business.
Did he make the leather items?
He just cut out, and he has women, and they do this for him. But in 1939 broke out the war, September the 1st, and they came in, the German, and I don't know how they knew. They know where he has all the stuff, the leather stuff, and they took everything from him.
Before the Germans came, can you describe what your family life was like?
Very nice. My parents, they've been very good parents, very good marriage, the best what I know. And my father, first he was a tailor, then he was a tailor and the business he has. And my mother, she took care of us. We've been 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. And when she had a little time, so she helped my father. She in sewing, she could help him in everywhere. And this was life like until 1939 when the war broke out.
What was the level of your religious observance in your home?
My mother, she was a very religious woman, and she came from a very religious home. And every Friday evening she light the candles, and high holidays we observe. My father, he wasn't religious, but it was freedom in our family. Everybody lived how he want to live. And they didn't influence us. No father on his side, no mother on her side. Just they wait until we grow up and make up our minds. And
Did you belong to a synagogue?
Yeah, we went, but only on high holidays. We went to synagogue. And after war, I did have a dilemma in believing, but
After the war?
after the war, when I lost everybody, I have big problems.
Before the war, what was your belief in God?
Before the war, I was 16, and I did after my mother, what my mother was believing, and the tradition, and these Jewish rules she was keeping. I and my sister, we went after her. We did the same thing.
Can you tell me about your schooling before the war?
I went to public school. 7 years I have in Zakopane. First in Szczawnica, 5 years, and then 2 years in Zakopane. And then I start to learn how to sew from my father to help him. And also with the souvenir stuff, I help him. So I went to evening school to get some more education. And I went in this school until war broke out. When the war broke out, we couldn't go to school, was not allowed.
Before the war, did you belong to any youth organization?
Yes, I did. To Zionistic organization I belong. It was like scouts, Jewish scouts. And the purpose was to go to Palestine, to Israel.
Can you tell me about that?
They try educate us and teach us Hebrew, alphabet and words. Not too much, but the basics. And they took us to the nature and skiing and to water. They was very nice leaders been there.
Who were the leaders?
The main leader, his name was Moniek Spira, and he emigrated to Israel.
Can you spell his name?
Moniek is Polish and it's like Moshe. Moshe Spira, Spirra, Spira. I met him in Israel and he still was very dedicated Zionist.
You met him in Israel
Yes,
after?
after war. But he saved his life because before the war he emigrated to Israel.
Tell me about your siblings. What did they do before the war?
They've been younger. My sister, she was 2 years younger, and my brother, he was 5 years younger. And just they went to school. They've been good students, nice people, good children.
Tell me about your town. Was it primarily Jewish?
No, was not very much. This was like 30 families, Jewish families was there. And it was mixed, was conservatives and some Orthodox Jews been there. And everybody died.
Did everyone get along, or did
Yeah.
how were you treated as Jews?
How we been treated? You couldn't feel anti-Semitism there. You could see sometimes they been waiting in front of Jew store and they say, you not go in this Jewish store. Or they broke window sometime. One time happened they went, the older Jews praying early in morning before high holidays. And they beat them up very bad.
How long before the war was this?
A few years, maybe 2, 3 years before war it was.
What did you and your family, perhaps your friends, think about that?
We knew it's anti-Semitism there, and even small children, they went on the street and they saw us, and they say, Żydia, chodź do Palestiny. Jewish, you go to Palestine, you not belong here. Stuff like this, we experience it.
On a regular basis?
No, regular basis. Sometimes happens, sometimes. Polish people, they've been a lot anti-Semitic. They didn't help in the war, seldom somebody.
You said your mother came from a very religious family.
Yeah.
Can you describe that for me, please?
Her father, he died young. It was a tragedy. He went to the woods, cut trees, and one tree killed him. And he was young. And
Who killed him?
Her father, a tree fell on him. And he was a very religious Jew. What I heard, I even didn't know him. And my grandmother, what here is on the picture, she wear a shaitel, this mean a wig. She was so religious. So my mother, she become, she saw the tradition and everything. So she was like not as much, but she was a religious woman.
And your father's family?
My father's family was, I don't know how was the family, but he wasn't religious at all.
Did you know your grandparents from your father's family?
His father, I knew his father. He was a teacher, and he teach German in school. And he was a very sweet man. I don't know his beliefs, how was. I was small this time, and I don't know. But my father, he lost his mother when he was 3 years old. She died. So then they put him to his aunt in Moravska Ostrava in Czech. And there he went to school. And he has a very hard life because they've been bakers. And in morning he has to get up 5 o'clock and take all the rolls and bread and distribute in the houses. And after that he went to school, after 3 hours of hard work.
Do you know how he and your mother met?
Yeah, I know how they met. My mother in Szczawnica, where I was born, where the minerals water been. So there my mother had a brother, and he went there. The wife of this brother, her sister-in-law, she was cooking for people when it was big season and the guests came. So she was cooking lunches and dinners, and he was eating there. My father, and my mother, she came visit his brother, and she was a very beautiful woman. You can tell on the picture. And he saw her in a mirror, and he fell in love right away. And he started to push her because he asked her whether she has somebody. She said, yeah. And he says, I am interested, but in 3 days I have to have the answer because I am going to France. If you tell yes, so I stay here. So she said yes. And so in 3 days they've been engaged. And this was the best marriage, what you can imagine. Never, people not believe me, but never I heard an argument. Never. In this marriage.
What is your strongest memory of your family?
Well, I have lots of memories. In what field do you mean? In what?
What the feeling was like in your home? You're saying
This big love and respect and honesty. This is what I got from my parents.
Did your parents, when did they start to feel that things were changing for the Jews for the worse?
All we start to feel when the anti-Semitic stuff started, and we knew it's an influence from somewhere it came. For example, was like Olympics games in Zakopane, in summer and in winter, and they came the Nazis and the spy came, and they knew everything what is.
Do you know what year this is we're talking about?
This was 37, 38, 39. If they came in Zakopane, they occupied everything what was important.
For example?
Airport and the hotels, the beautiful hotels been there, and the offices. They right away jump in and sit there. And then they say, no, right away, but later on, maybe around the New Year, this was September, around the New Year, they say, this is so beautiful city, we don't want Jews here. All Jews has to pack and go. And this was a very terrible moment for my parents. 3 children, and right away pack and go. Go where to go? We didn't know. But we really packed, and my father rented a big truck, put everything in the truck, and we went to Krakow.
Did he take, what did he take with him?
Everything we took with us, all belongings. The stuff what he has, the business, the souvenir, they took from him before I mentioned it.
Do you know the date that this happened, when your family moved?
Yeah, it was around New Year,
The year?
the 3940.
Tell me about when you arrived in Krakow.
When we arrived in Krakow, first thing was to rent some room and stay somewhere. So in a Jewish, very nice family, my father rented a room, and there we stay as long as we could. And then they say it's not enough room, and they need the room. So we rented in the outskirts of Krakow. We rented an apartment, and happened that this part where we rent the apartment become a ghetto. So then we don't have to move, we stay in this ghetto.
When did it become a ghetto?
Ghetto become probably 41.
So how did your father earn a living? How did you live before it became a ghetto?
He was sewing. He was a tailor, and he was a very good tailor. Also for ladies, also for men. So always he find job, and I helped him, and then I found a job in sewing, and I was working too. So I helped.
And your mother?
And my mother, she helped him.
And your sisters? And brothers?
No, they went to school.
They went to school? And
Yeah, they've been younger than I was.
when it became a ghetto, how did things change?
Changed dramatically. We been closed. They put bricks around. It was like city in a city. You couldn't go out. You have to have ID to go out and in each time if somebody work outside.
Who were the guards?
Probably they've been Ukrainian and German. Some Jews, was also Jewish policemen. They make from them. So, but you have stores there where you can shop in the ghetto, and
How many
we,
Jews were in the ghetto?
I don't know.
Were there a lot?
A lot. It was like a part of Krakow. It was a big place. Many people. And there they start to make this selection and deportation from this ghetto.
While the Jews were living inside the ghetto,
Yeah,
what were they feeling and thinking about what was happening to them?
we didn't know. We didn't. Everybody live his own lives and start to make living, and day by day, somehow they made it. And we would made until the end, even they not take us to concentration camp. Then they make the concentration camp in Krakow, Plaszow. So we have to leave the ghetto.
Did you know about the concentration camp while you were inside
No.
the ghetto?
No, because was not. It was a cemetery there, Jewish cemetery. Just they create. Was no problem for them. So after they make a big deportation when they took my mother and my brother.
Do you
This I know. It was October 1942. October 19. Yeah, never I saw them again, never.
Can you tell me about that day?
Oh, this was a terrible day. First they start to scream, the German, early in morning with the dogs. And then they say, everybody has to go out. And we went out, and there, when we've been out, they make the selections. And old people on one side, yeah, too young, and children and, with the old people, and healthy young people on the other side. So they've been for staying, and where the small children and sick people, they've been for going. And we knew they go to gas chambers.
How did you know about the gas
We knew,
chambers?
we knew.
How did word get to you?
From mouth to mouth. It come from the German to the Jewish policemen, and then it comes to the families. And we built in panic. It was rumors that will be deportation. Was terrible fear there.
You knew a deportation would be happening?
Yeah. We knew.
Tell me about your mother and your brother.
And my brother, he was blonde with blue eyes. He didn't look like a Jew, and he wants to go out. And my mother and father, they've been scared. What a young boy. How he will survive.
How old was he?
14. So they didn't allow him to go. If they would allow him, maybe he would be alive. And then there was this election, and they chose him because he was young, little boy, 14. How old are you? 17. He was 14, younger, 3 years than you. And they took him. And mother, she was so desperate, she ran after him. So I lost both of them.
Tell me about your mother running after him. She knew where he was going?
She didn't know, just she ran. She knew she couldn't be without him. It was too painful. So I lost both of them.
Did you see them take them? Did you see your mother and brother leaving?
No, because we've been on another place. I was staying with my father and my sister. And they took him, and she ran after. I don't know where she ran.
Were you in a line at this time?
It was behind a corner on a place where was the selection. So we stayed there, and then was quiet. And we went back to our apartment in the ghetto.
And when did they come for you?
They didn't come for me. We work in this factory. We've been sewing the uniforms.
Do you know the name of the factory?
Yeah, Optima.
So
And
what uniforms?
For the German. The uniforms we've been sewing. All three of us been working there. No, and then they say they're going to liquidate the ghetto. Will be no ghetto no more. So who was there has to move to a concentration camp.
Do you know about what date this was?
And this was in 1942 year. And was fall, before winter, a fall, autumn. And what we could take, we took with us. Of course not furniture, just what we could take in the hands.
Can you tell me what your living conditions were like during this time? You were with, again, your father,
Yes,
and whom else were you living with?
my sister. And what is the question? In the concentration camp?
In the ghetto,
Before they
At this
liquidate.
point in 42, what were your living conditions like?
We have one room, and the kitchen was shared with 3 families, and was not too bad. We could exist there if they leave us, but they liquidate the ghetto, and everybody has to go to the concentration camp in Plaszow.
Can you describe this day when they came to liquidate the ghetto?
Oh, this was terrible day. Be without mother and brother, and now you have to go, leave everything, just take something in your 2 hands, and go to a concentration camp, which was built on a cemetery. So this was terrible, but what you can do?
Did they tell you where they were taking you?
We knew.
How did you know?
Well, they've been talking, people been talking, and the commandant was Amon Goeth, and we didn't know how terrible he is. But then we find out when we been there. And when we came there, it was a cemetery, so they give us
How did they get you to the concentration camp?
we walked there.
You walked?
Yeah,
How long was the walk?
it was not so far. It was not so far from the ghetto. And
When you arrived, can you describe what that was like?
they give us hammer in the hands and tell us to break the stones, the gravestones, and make street from it, roads, because it was dirty roads.
Whose gravestones were these?
This was Jewish cemetery. There where they create the concentration camp. And Amon Goeth, he was our commandant, and he been shooting people. So you can imagine how scary place we get there.
Yes. How were you employed
I
when you arrived at the camp?
first we've been breaking the stones, and then one group they took and told us we're going to a brush factory.
Yes. Go ahead.
To a brush factory, and we worked there in the I worked there in the brush factory.
What kind of brushes?
All kind of brushes, cleaning dresses, coats for shoes,
And,
all kind of brushes.
and where was this factory located?
There in Plaszow,
On the ground.
yeah. But what was bad there, that window been there, and from Czechoslovakia they brought transports, and they've been shooting the people. And we could
How
see,
do you know?
because the window was there, behind the window. Because they have to put out all gold what they have.
Put out.
Gold, stuff like gold and jewelry. And then they shoot them. From Slovakia they came,
As they got off.
yeah, from the trucks. And we have to see this. So will be 4 tapes, right?
When did you first encounter Commandant Goeth?
Just when we arrive in the concentration camp, Krakow, Plaszow, we saw him screaming, yelling, the dogs, lots of dogs barking, and this is, just to see him was scary, because we knew it, who he is.
How
And
did you know who he was?
people been talking. People been talking. And they put us in barracks. They've been barracks with bunks, 3, 1, 2, 3. And together with my sister, we went there.
Were women and men separated?
Oh yeah, separated. And first I worked with the brush factory, and I saw this killing. And then they moved me to the wash place when the laundry I was washing the bloody sheets
The bloody sheets from where?
from ghetto. If they brought this up to Plaszow from ghetto, because ghetto was liquidated. Was no more ghetto. They brought the bloody sheet to the laundry place, and we've been washing like this by hands.
Did you know why the sheets were bloody?
Yeah, oh yeah, we knew.
Why were they bloody?
Because they've been shooting people in the ghetto. So, and blood come very hard out. So we have stoves there and big container with water and soap, and we have to boil this. And when I was no longer there, come a little Jewish man, and he asked for 10 girls.
How old were you at this time?
This was 20. I was 20 years old.
Before you tell me about that, can you tell me more about Commandant Good? What you saw him do?
He hanged my friend. He wasn't my friend. He was much older, but I knew the people. He was very rich in Krakow. They have a big store with leather, but very good people, very intelligent people. But they knew he has lots of money, but not in concentration camp. Already they took everything from him, and they hanged him.
Good hanged him?
Yeah, no him, but he let him to hang.
Where did
And
they
they hang him. They have a place.
in front of the prisoners?
Yeah, we have to see this.
Did they tell you why they were hanging him?
No, they didn't say. They didn't need explanation. They did what they want to do, and poor man. He was a good, very religious man. Good Jew.
What else did Good do?
And he left behind his wife and his daughter. They've been there.
They were in the camp with you.
Yeah.
What other encounters or times did you see Good?
Oh, he was going on the horse, riding horse. Oh, sometimes we see him, but not very often. Was very scary to see him, especially when we hear barking the dogs. This was so scary. We didn't know what is going on. And there start to be the apples. Early in morning, they've been blowing on the
Whistles?
on the whistles. Everybody has to go out in winter, in summer, and stand in lines, and they've been counting us hours and hours. Sometimes it was so terrible cold, or so very hot.
Do you know why they called you out to count you?
They call up. Because if somebody didn't run away, so they count. Nonsense, just to make hardy life. This is what they did.
Did the prisoners talk about Gert a lot among yourselves?
Yeah, everybody was scared. He was a very scary person.
What stories did you hear about him?
For example, he has a girl, she worked for him, and he beat her daily. And a guy, he worked for him, something was not clean enough what he wanted, he shoot him. I think he was 17.
Where did they work for him?
In his villa. He has a villa in the beginning. How you walk in the camp, in the beginning he has a villa.
Anything else about Gert?
Just that he was a monster. This was not a human being. And he make Schindler, he make connection with him, and he party with him. And so was possibility that he let us go to Schindler.
Tell me about that. You said a Jewish man came to select 10 girls.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
So he buy a factory. I think this was one time a Jewish factory,
Who
and
bought the factory?
Schindler, Oskar Schindler, and he owned the factory, and he need people for work.
What kind of factory?
Enamel factory, pots and pans we did there, and
Who were the pots and pans being made for?
just for selling, was like business. They sell to stores. And one group was airport, was men, so they came work for Schindler. And the girls who he select, the guy, we work for him.
Who selected?
The guy who took us,
Who was the man who took you?
he was a Jewish little guy, and he came to the laundry place, and he chose 10 girls. I was among them.
Can you describe him? Do you know his name?
No, I don't know his name. I cannot remember his face, only that he was a little man, and I was washing the laundry, and he said, "Come with me." I don't know first what is going to be, where I am going. Then put us on a truck and took us. It called Zablocie, was outskirts of Krakow. There he has the factory, and was a big sign, Emalia. If you saw the movie, it's there, the Emalia.
Can you spell that?
Yeah, it's Emalia.
This meant
Emalia. This means that the enamel is in Polish Emalia. The enamel pots and pans was made there, and the owner was Oskar Schindler.
the owner was.
Oskar Schindler.
When did you first see or hear about Oskar Schindler?
So I work in they put me there. Right away we work. We live not so far from the factory. We have to walk back and forth. He built for us barracks. And
Who built barracks?
Oskar Schindler. He built the barracks for us, for men and for women. Was much better than in Plaszow. All the condition was better.
Can you describe the conditions, how it was better?
The food was better. The coffee was better. And was nicer, much nicer. Was not 3 the banks, was only 2. We don't have to go so high, and more comfortable. And
Who ran the barracks?
this belonged to Oskar Schindler. He bought this, and this belonged to him. It was for us, man. And there I got this tattooation in this camp.
What is on your arm?
This is abbreviation of German word concentration lager. It's like concentration camp.
What does it say? What is that?
You have this?
What does it say?
Concentration lager.
Is that what are the
K.
letters?
KL.
And
Con-
what did this mean?
This means concentration camp.
But what did it signify that you had KL on your arm?
The purpose was that we not run away, that we are marked. But
Did this mean that you worked for someone in particular?
no, this means that I belong to a camp as a prisoner, and I am a prisoner. If I run away, somebody see this, so they shoot me right away. The German.
Did they put this on your arm in the barracks for Oskar Schindler?
Yes. But it was not that Schindler wanted, because he has his bosses also, SS and the German Nazi. They did what they wanted. So they say, you have here people is outside of the concentration camp, is a little concentration. They can run away. So they put this on us. Everyone who was at Schindler has this.
All the Schindler's List Jews have
Yeah, everyone.
KL.
Yes.
Can you tell me when you first met Oscar Schindler?
If I work in his factory, so he make rounds every day, and he make a great impression on me. Here is the picture somewhere. A
Let's see.
tall, handsome man, always cigarette in his hands, lots of good perfume. The whole factory was smelling if he come in. Every day he came. He has a big diamond on his finger that was shining, the diamond. And always smile on his face, always a young girl on his side. He never came by himself. He wasn't very faithful to his wife. But I am not criticizing him because he was good to us. But what is the truth, I say? And he make rounds and always smiling, always nice.
Did you ever speak with him?
Only one time I speak with him when I ask him whether he can bring to his factory my father and my sister. And he not promised me. He say it's not in his power to do this. So
Would he talk to the prisoners when he would come into the factory?
yeah, we talk to prisoners.
What did the prisoners say about him?
Everybody likes him. Everybody. But if came somebody like him, all the bosses, I told you we make the sign 6, that we are careful, that somebody is coming in factory and we have work. Otherwise we didn't work a lot.
Can you describe that to me in more detail, this sign, what the prisoners
It's
told you?
6. Sign is 6. If they show this, nobody can know what this means, but we knew it, that it means it comes somebody to check whether it was Schindler or whether it was another German or somebody for checking us. They make 6 and then we stay by our work and start to work. Otherwise we didn't work a lot. We weren't very productive in his factory.
Can you tell me what you did?
We did the pads and pens. We put this in a solution where was the enamel. Then we put this on boards with nails and carry this like that. It was heavy to the oven and it bakes there. And then was ready the pads and pens.
And when
It
you
was
weren't-
in white, in other colors. Yes, please.
And when you weren't working, what were you doing?
I'm just talking and walking and eating and just trying not to work too hard.
Did you experience hunger in the camp?
Oh yeah. Not that we've been starving to death, but it was not enough. In this age you need food, and even in his camp was better than in Plaszow, everywhere, but still was not so much food, was not enough.
What was night like in the barracks? What did you do?
We've been talking and was so many people and everybody have different talents. For example, my one friend, she was a poet. She write poems and she was reading to us and she was very intelligent, very skilled girls. And one was
What was her name?
Frida. Frida, last name I don't remember. No, long time ago I know it, but I forgot.
She wrote poetry inside
Yeah.
the camp.
Yeah. One, she was very talented for making beautiful gloves from leather. And they find out this, so they brought her leather and she make for the wife of Germans. She made the gloves. And everybody did something. But every day we went to the factory to work.
How long did you work in the factory?
How long I work?
Mm-hmm.
Until the Russian progress, and he has to liquidate the factory and move to Czechoslovakia. And he moved us with him,
He.
Oskar Schindler.
So how long did you work in the factory before he had to move you?
I know it was summer and spring and summer, and then in November they move us.
While you were in his factory, did you see anyone get murdered or beaten?
Nobody. No at Oskar Schindler, never. No in Krakow, no in Brynice, nobody was beaten.
Once you were on Schindler's List.
Who was his people? And not only this, he say to the German, you will not touch them. They are my people. He has guts, I tell you. He spent money on us. He was good to us. He was a great man.
How do you know he spent money on you?
We know.
What did
He-
he spend
he-
money on you for?
To bribe the Germans, they let us go.
Tell me
In-
about that. Where were you when they let you go?
When, for example, we've been in Auschwitz,
How did you get to Auschwitz?
because he has to liquidate the Russian progress, so he has to liquidate. And somebody say it was by mistake, but I think we have to stop in Auschwitz, whole transport.
Did he come to tell you he had to? How did you know he had to liquidate?
No, we knew the Russian coming.
Who told you?
From outside, it came from mouth to mouth. It came the news that the Russian progress. So we knew, and then they move us. So we know.
How did they move you?
They put us on train, and we went. And it was a terrible feeling to come to Auschwitz. The chimneys, the smell of
Did you know what
hair.
Auschwitz was before you got
We
there?
we knew in ghetto.
You knew about the gas chambers?
Oh yeah, we knew.
Can you tell me about that?
It was a terrible smell, hair and bodies, could smell. And it was very scary, and we didn't know how long we've been there, whether one time we will go out.
When you arrived, what did they do to you in Auschwitz?
They put us in shower, and we didn't know what a shower is this, because we heard that gas they put in shower. But we really been the protection there from Schindler. And he not let us go to the gas. They cut our hair, not completely, just short, very short.
What do you mean you were protected by Schindler in Auschwitz?
He was behind us. He said, this is my group, they are my people, they good workers. So probably this where he need the money, to bribe them.
How did you know he was behind you? When you were in Auschwitz?
Just we heard. And we have a good feeling that he is with us.
So how did they treat you since you belonged to Schindler?
They didn't treat us bad. For example, they did not shave the hair, just leave short. It make a big difference for girls. But I remember one time when I was working at the laundry place, he came and he started to talk to us, and he said, a very bad time is coming. I don't know what we will do.
Was this before
Moloch,
you went to Auschwitz?
Before we went to Auschwitz, this was in the wash machine, in the wash place, laundry place in Plaszow. And he said, the big Moloch is coming. This is what he says, still remember.
This happened before you were at the barracks for Schindler? You were still
Yeah, this was still in the concentration camp on the cemetery.
And Schindler came to speak to you?
No, we've been working. We've been working there, and when we belonged to him, then he came to us, to the group, and he say, the big Moloch is coming.
Mola?
Moloch, like the killer. And he was worried. He was worried about us. And this is what I think. He did everything, spent his money, and bribed them, and save us.
Was this before you went to the barracks at his factory or after?
Before.
And then you went to his factory,
Yeah, then we went to it. But we stopped in Auschwitz.
and then he had to liquidate the factory.
Yes. To move the factory.
And then you went where? You landed in Auschwitz.
And then we went to Czechoslovakia.
So how did he get you out of Auschwitz? How did you leave Auschwitz?
He bribed them. Probably he bribed them.
How long were you in Auschwitz?
We didn't know all the details, you know. We didn't have newspaper. We didn't have radio. We didn't know nothing. Just what you could hear from people.
How long were you in Auschwitz?
1 month.
And you saw the ovens and you knew?
Yeah, and it was terrible feeling.
Did you meet anyone you knew from your village while you were in Auschwitz?
My sister, I met there.
Can you tell me about that?
I heard that this Madrid group is there, so I was asking.
What group?
Madrid, where she was working.
Can you spell that?
Madrit, Madrid.
And what was that?
Like in Spain, this capital.
What is that?
Like in Spain, Madrid.
What is that?
His name was this, where she was working. But he didn't have this power like Oskar Schindler to save them. So they went to Auschwitz, and from Auschwitz they killed them.
So you saw your sister in Auschwitz.
Yeah, I saw my sister
What
in.
condition was she in?
I saw my father in Auschwitz too.
Did you speak to
To
each
him,
other?
yes, I did.
Tell me, where did you see him in Auschwitz?
Where the man been? So I've been asking, did you see Duklauer? And they say, no, go there, and I found him. And I found my sister too.
What were they doing? When you found your father, what was he doing?
Nothing, just sitting.
And what did you say to each other?
We've been happy to see each other, but we didn't know the future.
What condition was he in?
He was good looking. He was not skinny, like starving or something. And I say, oh, you look good. I was happy how he looked.
What kind of work did he do in Auschwitz?
Nothing. This was not work to do there. We didn't do nothing, just waiting.
What did your sister do in Auschwitz?
Also nothing,
No work.
no work. This is worse than to work, you know that? The day is so long and so boring. This was another punishment, not to work. And the apples were there also in morning, early in morning, get up.
Who was there?
In Auschwitz also.
What was that?
The apple, what I say, they wake us up 5 o'clock and we have to go out, everybody, and they start to count us.
When you met your sister, what did you say to each other?
Oh, what we could say, we didn't know what will be. But she say, I have a good feeling that you at Schindler, she say. So that people say that compared to this, what we are in Auschwitz is like a sanatorium. This is what she says to me.
When was the last time you saw your sister?
This was the last time. This was the last time you asked.
Do you know what happened to her?
Yeah, when the Russian progress, they have to liquidate. They put them on the trucks to the Baltic Ocean and sunk them.
They he sunk them in the Baltic Ocean?
Yes.
What was she in? How did they sink her?
I don't know how. Probably on a boat. I think so.
When did you find this out?
After the war. After the war, I was asking and asking. I went to the Jewish Community Center in Krakow every day. I went there every day, ask about about my mother. I knew, but I didn't know about my sister and father. So
How did your father perish?
I told you he has the carbuncle here and got the
What was there?
carbuncle. It called. It is a growth, but it's yellow from pus. It's infection, and so they give him the shot.
Tell me how he got the shot. What did he had
Oh,
the infection, and what did he do?
I just what I heard. I don't know the details.
What did you hear?
That he got the infection, and instead to heal this, what was not a problem, it was not penicillin this time, but still they could help him.
There was no penicillin?
It was not during the war. And they give him a shot, a poison shot, and he passed away. This is what I heard.
So, Oskar Schindler came, right?
Yes.
Got you out of Auschwitz.
Yes.
Did you see that? Did you see him coming?
I just know that came the trucks. They put us on the train. It was November, was snowing, and with the train we went to Brynice, to his place.
Where did you go?
Brynice, it's called this place.
Could you spell that?
Brinice.
And what kind of place was this?
This was in Czechoslovakia, Moravia part from Czechoslovakia. There he established another factory, but no the enamel factory, but arms.
Arms?
Yeah, he worked on arms.
And you went to work again?
Yes, yeah.
How was this factory different from the last one?
Oh, it was completely different. Different machines and different work. But what we heard that the arms was not good. What he did didn't work. They didn't work. But they didn't blame him. They didn't kill him for that. But this what we heard.
Now we're going to the next factory. Anna, you were telling me about the second factory now in Czechoslovakia.
Yes. Was in Moravia in called Brynice, and he has a house there, and Mrs. Schindler, she lived in this house. Sometimes she was in the window and watching us when we've been outside.
Did you ever meet Mrs. Schindler?
Not just afterward. In the museum I met her, but I saw her from the window. This time she was a young lady, now she's old. Very kind, very nice lady. She did have some wool. I don't know where she took the wool and to give to us, so we've been knitting sweaters for us because we've been not busy, so this was a good for us to knit. And it was winter, so it was good to have the sweaters.
And I want to ask you, you said you weren't busy. Can you tell me what a typical day was like?
That we've been busy or we wasn't busy?
You said you weren't busy. Can you tell me
Weren't
what a
busy,
day?
we know.
You woke up what time? What did you do?
You mean not busy?
Right.
Yeah, not busy because we didn't work a lot in this factory. So we woke up early, like 5 o'clock, went to the Apple, and then walk to the factory. And then it depends when I work for the Emalia, So we put this, I told you this,
First factory.
in the first factory. But now you ask about the Czechoslovakia factory. Yeah, so they've been big machines, and nobody trained me. I didn't know how to operate the machines. Was not the enamel work anymore, just the arms work. And
What kind of arms? What were you making?
I don't know. They say that the V, this was the newest, that we work on the V arms, was the newest, what was very powerful. The German find out. But then we've been hearing that it not work, nothing what we did.
Were they guns? What were they? Bullets? What were they?
They just say arms and V. It's very modern something somebody find out. So this is what he got to do in this factory.
What was your job in the factory?
Just sit by a tall machine, and was like a tube, and you put a round metal there and push with your legs and then down. Very boring work. But was not too much. Then we didn't do nothing. We've been sitting around, we just talking.
And when Schindler would come in, what would you do?
So we have the sign, we make 6. If somebody noticed him or another person, some German or woman German, so they make the sign 6, and everybody went to his place. We didn't talk. We pretend we work hard, and that is what we did.
So when you weren't working, what were you talking about with each other?
Just we've been cooking all the time, just about food. Mostly women been talking, and about hoping that one time the war will finish and we will be with our families.
Did you make friends?
Yeah, always, if you, for example, where you sleep, so in the room is lots of girls, and we make friends. We've been friends.
How did you help each other to survive?
Just be optimistic. We've been and talking about end of war, talking about good food, what we will cook when we come back. So somebody say potatoes and sour milk. This somebody like me, we talk how we cook and what we